What is the coziest home in the forest? The one filled with warm porridge and gentle sunlight. Belonged to a family who didn't know a curious visitor was about to wander right inside. This is the tale of Goldilocks, a girl who followed her wander and found a home that would change her heart forever.
Welcome to Magic Fairytales TV, the enchanted realm where timeless stories come alive once more. From classic adventures to new bedtime wonders, each tale is crafted to awaken the child within and rekindle your happily ever after. So open your heart, close your eyes, and step inside the magic kingdom of fairy tales. Subscribe now for magical tales every week and rediscover the wonder you've always believed in.
Once upon a time, deep in a forest where the sun shone through the leaves like scattered gold coins, there wandered a girl with hair even brighter than the beams that warmed her shoulders. Her name was Goldilocks, a name whispered fondly by the villagers, who saw her as a spark of sunshine in an often quiet world. Goldilocks had a heart shaped by curiosity. Not the rowdy kind that causes harm, but the gentle kind. The kind that made her pause at every butterfly, examine every shimmering pebble, and wonder what stories lived in every shadow. On this particular morning, the forest felt different, livelier, warmer, as though the trees themselves were humming a soft invitation. Goldilocks skipped along the narrow forest path, her shoes tapping lightly on roots and moss. She carried a small basket her mother had woven, filled with leftover biscuits wrapped in cloth. She had planned to visit her grandmother, but halfway along the familiar road, a glimmer caught her eye. It wasn't a fairy, though the world was magical enough that she briefly wondered. Instead, it was a ray of sunlight reflecting off something far ahead, just out of sight, just intriguing enough to pull her off the path. She hesitated. Her mother always said, "The forest is gentle, but only if you listen to it." Goldilocks lifted her chin and listened. No growls, no eerie whispers, only the soft hum of birds and the distant trickle of a stream. Safe enough. So she wandered. The trees leaned in overhead, creating a cathedral of emerald branches. Motes of golden pollen drifted lazily, catching the sun like drifting stars. The deeper Goldilocks walked, the more she felt the cozy heartbeat of the forest, like it was alive, watching her, guiding her gently forward. Yes, the forest breathed around Goldilocks like it had been waiting for her. Not in a spooky, run-for-your-life kind of way. More like the way a cozy blanket calls to you during winter. You don't know why you need it, you just do. As she stepped beneath the first arch of low-hanging branches, sunlight broke into soft ribbons, gold, peach, and honey, striping the mossy ground. Tiny dust motes danced in the air, swirling with every step she took, like the forest was sprinkling a little extra magic just for her. Goldilocks paused. She felt it again, that pull, that warm, glowing tug deep in her chest. "Okay, now where are you leading me?" she whispered. The woods answered, not with words, but with movement. A breeze drifted by, unusually gentle, like a hand on her shoulder, guiding her deeper. Leaves rustled with a sound that resembled giggling. Somewhere to her left, a brook babbled, but its rhythm sounded suspiciously like it was humming. Not normal, not scary, just enchanted. The kind of enchanted that makes your heart beat faster in the best way. Goldilocks grinned. "All right, Whispering Woods, I'm listening." She stepped forward, each crunch of leaf and twig echoing softly like a quiet drum in a huge auditorium. The deeper she traveled, the more the world seemed to shift. Sunlight became softer, almost syrupy. The air smelled like cinnamon bark and blooming clover. And the trees, tall, towering maples and pines, bent ever so slightly as though granting her passage. The forest wasn't just alive, it was aware, and it liked her. As she walked, a flicker of movement caught the corner of her eye. A quick flash of russet orange fur. Goldilocks froze. "Hello?" she whispered. A pair of eyes blinked from behind a fern. Then a tiny fox, smaller than a loaf of bread, peeked out. Its ears twitched. Its fur puffed adorably. It tilted its head as though inspecting her shoes, her hair, her soul. Goldilocks crouched down. "Ah, aren't you cute?" The fox blinked again, and then it sneezed. The sneeze was so tiny and squeaky that Goldilocks burst into soft laughter. The fox shook itself, embarrassed, and darted away into the underbrush, like it had scheduled more important fox business. "Okay, you're adorable," Goldilocks called after it, still smiling. She stood and kept walking, and with each step, she realized something strange. She felt less lost than before, and more like she was meant to be here. As though she wasn't wandering aimlessly, but following a road written just for her. Her mother always said she had a curious heart. Her father said curiosity was trouble wrapped in golden curls. Goldilocks decided both could be true. And still, this path was irresistible. As she moved deeper, she noticed the forest's subtle changes. The trees looked older, but kinder. Their bark etched with light patterns that resembled ancient runes. Birds perched on high branches, but didn't fly away. If anything, they leaned closer, curious about the golden-haired girl strolling through their territory. At one point, a bluebird landed on a branch right beside her head and chirped a little melody. Delicate, sweet, almost like a greeting. Goldilocks gasped. "Are you saying hello?" The bird chirped again. Goldilocks smiled. "I'll take that as a yes." As she wandered further, the forest floor dipped slightly into a shallow valley draped in chilly shadows. Here the air felt different, cooler, quieter, like the hush before a secret is told. She slowed her steps. The whispering leaves seemed to mumble warnings, or maybe invitations. She couldn't tell. Okay, I'm going." She stepped into the darker grove. It wasn't frightening, but it felt meaningful, heavy with the sense that she was crossing a boundary into a chapter she couldn't reverse. A soft, pulsing glow appeared ahead, warm like a fire, but steadier, more controlled. Goldilocks inhaled. There, right beyond a curtain of weeping branches, stood a small wooden bridge, arching over a creek that sparkled in hints of blue and gold. She stepped closer, then froze, because on the bridge was a paw print. Not tiny like a fox, not huge like a monster, just big enough to belong to something bear-shaped. Another paw print, then another, leading across the bridge, down a trail, through more trees, towards something unseen. Goldilocks tilted her head. "Well," she whispered, brushing her fingertips lightly over the print. "That is very promising, and also slightly concerning." She straightened. Her heartbeat slowed, deepened, thrummed like a drum preparing for a parade. Her curiosity, bright and blazing, took over her fear. "All right," she murmured, stepping onto the bridge. "Show me where you live, mysterious paw-printed creature." The creek shimmered beneath her feet. The wind hushed. The forest opened its arms. And with one brave step after another, Goldilocks crossed into the part of the woods where the three bears lived. Goldilocks followed the trail of paw prints deeper into the forest, and with every soft step, the world grew cozier and stranger at the same time. Birdsong grew gentler. The breeze felt warmer, and the sunlight had this soft golden glow, like warm tea poured across the treetops. By now, Goldilocks knew one thing. She wasn't wandering. She was being led. But by who? Or what? And then she smelled it. Cinnamon. warm oats, a hint of honey melting into something thick and delicious. Her stomach made a noise that could only be described as a small dramatic opera. "Oh no, not now," she whispered, then immediately followed the scent. It wafted between the branches like invisible ribbons, curling under her nose, nudging her like a friendly elbow. Step by step, the path grew wider. Leafy shadows thinned. The air shimmered with a soft kind of promise. And then, Goldilocks gasped, because there it was, a cottage. A cottage, but not just any cottage. A cottage that looked like it was built from a recipe for coziness itself. The roof was thick with thatched layers, curled like sugar on creme brulee. Smoke puffed from the chimney in lazy, marshmallow-shaped clouds. The windows glowed soft amber, as if inviting anyone who passed by to come in and warm their soul. Tiny sunflowers grew along the pathway. Yes, tiny, barely taller than her ankles, leaning toward her as she walked by like cheerful greeters. The door was painted a deep forest green with a warm wooden frame, decorated with a little wreath of pine cones, dried berries, and two small wooden bear figurines in the center, holding hands. It was adorable. It was whimsical. It was clearly somebody's beloved home. Goldilocks stopped at the edge of the path. Her breath formed a small cloud in front of her face, even though the air wasn't cold. Her heart thumped softly. "This is it," she whispered to the trees, to herself, to the entire forest that seemed to be holding its breath. "I found where the paw prints lead." She took one cautious, curious step toward the porch. Creak! She froze. That sound didn't come from her. It came from inside the cottage. Goldilocks held still. She listened. Another sound followed. A thump, a rustle, a heavy shuffle. "Oh boy," she whispered. "Someone's definitely home." But then the house fell silent. Completely silent. Too silent. Goldilocks swallowed. She wasn't scared, exactly. Just aware. Aware that she had reached the heart of the woods. Aware that this cottage might not be empty. Aware that something, or someone, was behind that green wooden door. She stepped closer, climbing the single step to the porch. Her hand drifted close to the doorknob, and she could almost feel the warmth of whoever lived there through the wood. She hesitated. "I probably shouldn't go in," she whispered. Then with a sheepish shrug, "But I probably will." Goldilocks leaned in to listen one more time. Growl. A soft growl. Not angry, not threatening. Just a low, rumbling, half-asleep sound. The sound someone makes when they turn over in a very comfortable bed. Goldilocks blinked. Was that snoring? Another growl. Definitely snoring. "Okay," she whispered. "Someone large is definitely napping in there." And just when she was gathering the courage to knock, the door opened, by itself. A gentle breeze pushed it inward with a faint creak, revealing a warm glow, the smell of fresh porridge, and a home filled with life. Goldilocks's breath caught in her throat. "Well," she murmured, stepping over the threshold with a bravery she definitely did not think through. "If the house is inviting me in, it would be rude to say no." And with that, Goldilocks entered the cottage of the three bears. If this story wrapped your heart in a warm forest blanket, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who needs a cozy moment tonight. Want more magical remixes of your favorite fairy tales? Tap the bell so you never miss a new chapter. The warmth hit Goldilocks instantly. Not just heat from the fireplace, but the warmth of a place lived in, loved, and filled with the soft hum of a family. The interior looked like a storybook had stretched itself out and invited her inside. Wooden beams curved across the ceiling like friendly arms. A braided rug in red, golden, and forest green colors sprawled across the floor like a sunset woven into fabric. The hearth crackled softly with orange flames, casting shadows that looked like dancing animals on the stone walls. But what really caught her eye, the table, set neatly with 3 bowls of porridge. One bowl, large enough for a lumberjack. One medium-sized, like it belonged to someone sensible and organized. And one small bowl that still steamed with a curl of fragrant cinnamon sweet vapor. Goldilocks let out a small gasp. It smells incredible. Her stomach gave what could only be described as a dramatic solo. She stepped toward the table like it was whispering her name. The large bowl first. She dipped the spoon, tasted. Ah, too hot! She fanned her tongue like it betrayed her. Next bowl, the medium one. She tasted. Cold. Why is this one cold? Did the bowl just give up? She made a face. Then she tried the small bowl. The moment it touched her tongue, her eyes widened. Oh, she whispered. Oh, this is perfect. Warm, comforting, exactly cinnamon enough, with a creamy sweetness that tasted like someone cooked with love, not recipes. She finished it embarrassingly fast. And then she realized, oh no, I wasn't supposed to do that. She looked around. The cottage stayed silent. A nervous smile curled across her lips. Well, maybe they won't notice. Spoiler, they will, but not yet. Goldilocks wandered deeper into the cottage. She passed a bookshelf full of forest stories and hand-carved trinkets. She passed little boots by the door. One large pair, one medium pair, one small pair with cheerful buttons. This family must be adorable, she whispered. She stepped toward the living area. 3 chairs, 3 personalities carved into wooden furniture. A giant chair, built like a hug. A medium chair, tidy and well-cushioned. And a tiny rocking chair, painted with stars. Goldilocks smiled. This is going to be fun. She didn't mean to sit, but the chairs were practically begging. She climbed into the big chair first. Thump! She sank instantly, so far down she thought she might never return. Okay, wow. This is like sitting in a warm loaf of bread. She struggled, flailed, and rolled herself out before she became part of the furniture forever. Next, the medium chair. It looked firm, responsible, the kind of chair that knew exactly where its coasters were at all times. She sat. It squeaked. She froze. The chair froze too. Then, crack! One leg gave a dramatic sigh and tilted. Goldilocks scrambled up. Oh no, nope, nope. That was not me. That was gravity. I refuse responsibility. Her eyes darted toward the small chair, blue stars painted along the back, a soft cushion with little embroidered moons, like a lullaby turned into furniture. She sat. It was heavenly. She rocked gently, then a bit more, then thunk, crack, snap. The chair collapsed. Goldilocks winced. Oh no. Okay, maybe I'm the problem. At the edge of the room was a staircase, spiraling upward like a curious question mark. Goldilocks hesitated only a moment before climbing. The second floor smelled like warm blankets and family. 3 beds, 3 personalities again. One bed, huge, with a quilt stitched in forest greens. Another medium-sized, neatly made with soft white linens. And the smallest, bright and colorful, dotted with tiny painted constellations. Goldilocks yawned. The magical forest journey was starting to weigh on her eyes like soft sand. Maybe just a little rest, she murmured. She tried the big bed. Too hard. She bounced once and felt her spine negotiate its resignation. Nope. Next, the medium bed. Too soft. She sank into it like cookie dough. Dangerous. I'll never escape. Finally, the small bed. She laid down. Perfect. Everything in this home came in 3s, and the littlest things always fit her best. Goldilocks curled into the blankets. Within seconds, sleep pulled her into its warm, honey-scented embrace. She didn't hear the cottage door open downstairs. She didn't hear the footsteps. She didn't hear the voices. The three bears had returned, and they were very good at noticing things. Papa Bear pushed open the door, humming a tune from the forest. Mama Bear carried a basket of herbs and berries, already thinking about dinner. Baby Bear scurried in with excitement, but then all three stopped. Papa Bear sniffed. Someone's been in here. Mama Bear frowned. My bowl, it's been moved. Baby Bear's eyes grew huge. My porridge, it's gone. All three exchanged looks, concern, curiosity, a pinch of annoyance. Papa Bear stepped carefully, scanning the room like a seasoned ranger. Mama Bear inspected the chairs. Baby Bear pointed dramatically. My chair, my beautiful chair. It's broken in a million sad pieces. Mama Bear gasped. Papa Bear growled softly. Upstairs, he said, and together, the bear family climbed the stairs, slow, steady, ready. Baby Bear peeked over the top step first. His eyes widened. Someone's in my bed. Mama Bear stepped closer, heart fluttering. Papa Bear frowned deeply. The covers rose and fell with gentle, sleepy breaths. A golden curl peeked out from beneath the quilt. Goldilocks shifted, dreaming peaceful dreams. Mama Bear whispered, "Oh, she's just a child." Suddenly, Goldilocks stirred. She blinked, she stretched, she looked up, and saw three bears staring at her. Goldilocks froze. The bears froze. Nobody breathed. Then, Goldilocks screamed. The bears screamed. Everyone screamed in harmony, like a choir of surprise. Goldilocks scrambled out of bed, nearly tripping over the quilt. Papa Bear held up his paws. "Wait, little one, it's okay." Mama Bear softened her voice. "We won't hurt you, dear." Baby Bear leaned forward. "Why'd you eat my porridge, though?" Goldilocks gulped, cheeks flaming. I was lost. I didn't mean to break anything. I just wanted to rest." The bears exchanged looks. Papa Bear's expression softened. "Child, this forest can be tricky. You must have been frightened." Mama Bear patted her gently. "It's all right. When guests stumble upon our home, we treat them with kindness." Baby Bear tugged her sleeve, smiling. "And maybe, next time, ask before eating my breakfast." Goldilocks smiled nervously. "I promise." In that warm room where fear melted into comfort, Goldilocks realized something. Sometimes, families weren't defined by shape, size, or species. Sometimes, they were simply defined by kindness. And soon, this little girl and the bear family would share a cozy forest afternoon none of them would ever forget. If this story wrapped your heart in a warm forest blanket, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who needs a cozy moment tonight. The cottage, still warm, still glowing from the fireplace, felt different now. Not dangerous, not mysterious, not like a place she had trespassed. It felt welcoming. Goldilocks stood small and apologetic before the bear family, brushing crumbs of sleep from her eyelashes. Papa Bear gave a slow nod, the kind that meant, well, things went a little sideways, but it's going to be okay. Mama Bear knelt to her level. "My dear, we understand. Forest paths twist unexpectedly. When we saw you sleeping, you looked so tired." Goldilocks lowered her gaze. "I'm really sorry. I should have asked. I shouldn't have broken the little chair or eaten the porridge." Baby Bear huffed in dramatic, theatrical fashion. "Well, you did eat all of mine." But he looked at her face, worried, embarrassed, and softened. "It's okay." Goldilocks' shoulders relaxed. "Thank you." Papa Bear rubbed his chin. "You know, apologies are good, but fixing things together makes everyone feel better." Goldilocks brightened instantly. "I can help. I love fixing things. I help my papa repair stools and doors all the time." Mama Bear smiled. "Well then, little helper, let's tidy this place up together." And so they began. Goldilocks swept flour dust and cinnamon crumbs from the table. Papa Bear repaired the median chair's squeaky leg. Mama Bear portioned new porridge. Baby Bear gathered wooden pieces from his broken chair, each piece clutched with exaggerated sorrow. Goldilocks knelt next to him. "We'll fix it." Baby Bear sniffed. "Promise?" She nodded. "Promise." A pause, smile from both. It felt like the first moment of a friendship. Papa Bear brought out tools, big ones for big paws, that Baby Bear pointed toward a smaller drawer. "For tiny hands," he said. Goldilocks grinned. The two sat cross-legged on the forest-colored rug, arranging the small chair's pieces like a puzzle. "Okay," Goldilocks said, lightly tapping a peg into place. "This piece aligns with the star on the backrest." Baby Bear nodded, tongue sticking out in determined concentration. "Like this?" He pushed the piece gently. "Perfect," Goldilocks said. The little bear's face lit up. Piece by piece, the chair took shape again. Not perfect, a little crooked, a little wobbly, but put together with care. Baby Bear proudly whispered, "We fixed it." Goldilocks smiled. "No, we fixed it together." On the other side of the room, Papa Bear watched, his expression softening. He leaned to Mama Bear. "You know," he murmured, "this one's got a good heart." Mama Bear nodded warmly. And good hearts are rare in the forest sometimes. By the time the chair was whole again, Goldilocks and Baby Bear were covered in wood dust and giggles. Mama Bear clapped her hands. "Wonderful. Now, porridge for everyone, I think." Baby Bear pumped a paw into the air. "Yes." The table was reset. 3 bowls for the bears. 1 extra bowl set with a floral rim just for Goldilocks. Mama Bear ladled warm porridge into each bowl. Goldilocks took a careful spoonful. It was delicious. "You made this?" she asked Mama Bear. "Of course, every morning." Goldilocks nodded, impressed. As they ate, Papa Bear asked questions. "So, what brings you deep into our part of the forest, Goldilocks?" She shrugged softly. "I like wandering, looking for new things, but today I walked too far." Baby Bear tilted his head. "Were you scared?" Goldilocks thought about it. "A little, but then your home felt safe." Mama Bear placed a comforting paw over Goldilocks' small hand. "Well, little wanderer, you're always safe when kindness leads the way." They told stories. Papa Bear told a tale of the time he tried to outrun a squirrel and tripped over a mushroom patch. Baby Bear told about the day a chipmunk stole his acorn pouch. Goldilocks shared about her favorite tree to climb and the way sunlight danced through its leaves like golden raindrops. Laughter filled the cottage, warm as the fire. The forest outside exhaled a gentle breeze through the open window, carrying the scent of pine and wildflowers. Goldilocks had never felt so connected, so welcomed, so understood. It was a forest kind of magic, not glittery, not loud, just gentle, cozy, and real. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in pumpkin orange and rose pink, Goldilocks felt sleep tug at her again. Not the accidental kind from before, but the peaceful kind. Mama Bear noticed. "You should start heading home, dear. Your family will worry." Goldilocks' chest tightened. She didn't want to leave. "It's getting dark," she murmured. Papa Bear placed a sturdy paw over her shoulder. "We'll walk you back." Goldilocks blinked. "Really?" "Of course," Mama Bear added. "It's what friends do." "Friends." The words sparkled inside Goldilocks. Baby Bear grabbed her hand excitedly. "Can we visit you sometime? Maybe, if you live near the blueberry grove?" Goldilocks laughed softly. "If you promise not to eat everything in my house." Baby Bear gasped dramatically. "I would never, unless it smelled really good." They all laughed. The bear family guided her out of the cozy cottage into the twilight forest. Fireflies lit the path, bobbing gently like floating lanterns made of starlight. Goldilocks walked between them, small hand in baby bear's warm paw. A new friendship, shaped by kindness, honesty, and a broken chair that shouldn't have been so small in the first place. The forest at dusk was a symphony, owls calling, branches whispering, tiny crickets singing like a soft orchestra. Goldilocks felt safe with the bears beside her. Papa Bear walked confidently at the front, clearing the way with gentle steps. Mama Bear followed, humming a lullaby that blended with the chirping leaves. Baby Bear walked beside Goldilocks, sharing forest secrets. That stump? A raccoon throne. That tree? Squirrels hold meetings there. That pond? Don't swim. The frogs gossip. Goldilocks giggled. I think, she said, you're the funniest friend I've ever had. Baby Bear puffed out his chest. It's a gift. Finally, the path opened to the familiar meadow near Goldilocks' cottage. Her home peeked between the trees, warm lamplight glowing through the windows. Mama Bear squeezed her shoulder. You're safe now. Goldilocks' eyes softened. Thank you for everything. Papa Bear gave a deep, steady nod. You showed courage and honesty. Those are the marks of good heart. Baby Bear hesitated, then threw himself into a big hug around her waist. Goldilocks hugged him back tightly. When can I see you again? She whispered. Baby Bear grinned wide. Anytime, just follow the smell of cinnamon porridge. As the bears turned to leave, Goldilocks called out, Wait! They paused. She stepped forward shyly. I want to visit again, properly, to knock on the door, to bring something. Maybe, she looked thoughtful, maybe blueberry muffins? Baby Bear gasped so hard he almost fell over. Yes, bring muffins. Lots, hundreds. Mama Bear laughed warmly. Maybe just a few is enough. Papa Bear raised a paw. We'd be honored to have you visit, little wanderer. Goldilocks nodded, feeling the promise settle warmly into her heart. I'll come soon. And with final waves, the bear family disappeared into the twilight forest. Goldilocks watched them until the trees swallowed their silhouettes like gentle shadows. She turned toward her home. Her adventure had changed her, taught her, softened her. Never again would she enter a home uninvited, but never again would she fear the woods either, because somewhere, in a cozy cottage with cinnamon-scented air, she had found friends. Before Goldilocks stepped inside her home, she paused and whispered to the forest, Thank you. The woods answered with a rustle of branches. And the story leaves you here, warm and thoughtful, holding the moral at heart. Respect other spaces and feelings. Be brave enough to admit mistakes. And remember, kindness turns strangers into friends. And so ends the cozy tale of Goldilocks and the bear family. A warm reminder that kindness can turn even the strangest encounters into lifelong friendships. What was your favorite moment in Goldilocks' cozy forest adventure? Tell us below. Your comments help this magical channel grow. Watch the next cozy story. Subscribe for more magical bedtime adventures. Stay enchanted.